This episode is brought to you by Shopify. That's the sound of switching your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling. Harness the best converting checkout and same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Stop leaving sales on the table. Discover why millions trust Shopify to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech23.
Okay, start talking.
Poo poo. I wish we were recording this. Okay.
You're like 5 years old.
Oh, man. You said start talking. I said whatever was on my mind.
Wow, Justin.
We said this was going to be just a real authentic podcast, right?
Yes, we did.
So, how you doing, babe?
Well, there's a lot going on in my head today. You know why? Because we live in California, and it's rained more here than Seattle. And
For real?
which is actually
Every time we think it's going to stop raining, it just keeps raining. Like, why do we even live here?
which honestly we're grateful for.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been
the whole
cold.
drought thing.
So I've got 12 layers on because I'm now a wuss because I grew up in Utah, but now I live in California. Can't handle the cold. We have 3 teenagers, which they throw curveballs every other Tuesday at us. And they're wonderful at the same time.
We love them.
But curveballs for sure.
Yeah, we'll spare details for their future, everything, and for us and all the things.
And we also bought a big, gorgeous, beautiful house like a little over a year and a half ago. It's 8,500 square feet. Therefore, it throws us curveballs every other Tuesday as well. Thanks to all the rain, Cason's room is flooding, and that's a party in and of itself. But those are just the side curveballs.
Yeah, I didn't sleep very good last night. I have a headache.
Your neck is kinked.
You literally right now.
You can't really turn aside.
You were asking me. You're like, okay, we got to record a podcast because we're going to. At the beginning, we had like 10 ready to go. We were like way in advance before we launched any, and then we kind of got to the point where we were doing them like a week or two in advance. Mm-hmm. It was like a couple weeks in advance, and then a week in advance, and then
nobody cares.
No,
nobody cares about the timeline you're sharing.
No, I was going to say now. Anyway, we need to release a podcast in like 3 days. So Tara was asking me, it's like, hey, we're going to go record a podcast. Like, you don't seem like you're in the zone.
Yes,
So it's kind of one of those days. It's been kind of a couple days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. It's partly kids, partly lots of things. Altogether, we have a great life. We love our life. There's definitely some good parts of yesterday, right? You're facing.
I never know where you're going. So I'm like, what are you referring to?
We've got to start recording these. Oh, man.
But I'd have to put makeup on, so that would be annoying.
Yeah, I'd have
to match my clothing.
I'd have to get a hair transplant. Get a new sweater or something. Anyway. So the truth is, like, are we as excited and pumped right now about our business as we were, let's say, I don't know, any other time?
No.
No, we're not.
It's like when you have a baby and you had this beautiful baby and it's amazing and incredible. And then you want to have another baby and you forget what it's like to have a baby. But you kind of remember, you're like, yeah, that was really hard. But to think about how it was hard and to actually experience the hard is a very different thing. So we are in the labor pains delivering the baby. The baby has been delivered and the baby is just crying.
I think the baby's still coming out.
It can't smile yet.
And this is my first time delivering one. It hurts really bad.
Well, think about it. Whenever you have a baby, okay, not everybody's having one, but you have this baby and it's beautiful and it's so cute and it's amazing. But it takes, I feel like with our last 3 kids, it took like a month before you get the very first smile, like one smile.
Totally.
So you are
and that's after you carried it for 9 months.
You carried it for 9 months. You're
and all the work it took to get it in there. I mean, okay.
Okay, that's inappropriate. But it takes 9 months and then the baby comes out and all the work of getting the baby out. And then you have this baby and you are up with it all day, all night, thinking about it, trying to keep it alive, making sure that it's breathing and eating and sleeping and pooping and doing all of the things. And it takes 10 months to get your very first smile. And I remember every single moment with each one of my children where I'm taking care of them and I get like a legit smile. Not like I just have gas. Not like I'm just randomly thinking.
You have gas or the baby has gas?
And the other thing, Justin.
Okay.
The baby gives you a smile because it recognizes you and looks at your face and sees you finally as its mother. I feel like we're in the phase where the baby has been delivered, the baby's out there, and nobody's smiling. We ain't getting no smiles.
We've gotten a couple winks.
Okay, we've gotten some winks. We've gotten
smiles.
some gassy smiles. But we are working so hard for very little return at this point. And every time we start a business, we forget about this part of the baby delivery process where you're just working hard and not getting a whole lot back.
Here's the thing. I don't think we forget because we talk about it. Like we know it's going to happen, but I think there's a huge difference between knowing something's going to happen and actually going through it and through the emotion and the feeling of it. Mm-hmm. Every business has been the same. And every time we think it's going to be different, but we don't, but we do. Mm-hmm. It's like we've done this before. It's supposed to be easier. It's supposed to work faster, better, all the things.
But it always has a new flavor to it, one that you didn't expect. And there are certain things that are a lot easier now because, okay, now I don't have to be terrified about doing a podcast. I don't have to be super scared about putting myself out there. I don't have to freak out about these things. We have assets. We have a nice place to live. Our kids are older. But there are always new things that freak you out for a minute.
Our past education business, we just did a podcast, email, website. We did Facebook stuff. We didn't really do Twitter or YouTube or shorts, Reels. We're doing a lot of different things. And, I am not Mr. Techie Tech Pants. We just decided to go for all. So tip number one, if you're doing content and you're not familiar with a lot of different platforms, don't try to do them all at once. It's like having 10 babies at one time you're trying to take care of, right?
We have 5 babies. We just had quintuplets. Is that how you say it?
Yes, we just had
actually sextuplets because we also have a podcast. So these are the areas where we're trying to grow. And yeah, Justin's right. We didn't do a ton on all the social media platforms back in the day. We just had a couple. And so this round, we decided to start the podcast. We also are growing a following on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We were on LinkedIn, but then we were like, you know what? Crickets. Legit crickets.
It's like legit crickets.
So it'll take some education to get there. We just don't have the time for it. That's just kind of chilling there. But we are growing in all these different areas.
But I don't get it. Like, I'm somebody. We've done things, Tara.
Right?
What the heck?
So here's some of the numbers. So let's see. It's been 6 weeks. And just to kind of give you an idea. And sometimes, to one person, they're like, wow, those numbers are great. And to others, they're like, wow, good job, guys. So we have 355 followers on Facebook. And on Instagram, we have 3,527. TikTok, we have these reels going out and they are awesome. Okay, I'm just going to say they're awesome. And they're getting, like the last one got 18,000 views. One before that got 20,000 views. But we only have 152 TikTok followers. Like, what's going on there? What's going down, huh? YouTube, we are making some slow progress. For most of the time, we had about 2 subscribers. As of today, we have 104 subscribers. So we did one the other day, it had 4 views, and the one yesterday has 150. And so the algorithms of all these different things and taking on all these different babies all at once with their own special flavor and uniqueness, it can make you insane for about half the day.
Well, and then our past podcasts, we had a certain amount of downloads, and then you start a new podcast, you just assume, oh, we're just going to grow this really fast. But then things have changed. They don't have new and noteworthy anymore, and you got to build it differently. So we have less subscribers and downloads on this podcast. And then sometimes we'll put this podcast on another podcast feed that we had that has been inactive for a very long time. And we get significant, like 10 times more downloads on the same episode. We're like, no, you need to come over here. We're trying to grow this. So what's the point of all this? We were going to come on here and talk about a different episode, which you'll get next week.
Which I'm excited about. We have all kinds of cool things to talk
about. It's
a
really good episode. But we're like, you know what? Let's get real. Like we are it's referred to as the Troth of Sorrow. So here's the deal. We are currently in a form of the Troth of Sorrow. I'm sure the Troth will get deeper and bigger and wider. Like, it's not like we're in like the bottom, we've hit rock bottom or the worst of the worst. Like we're good. We're totally fine. But every single person, this is a rite of entry.
Mhm.
I think rite of passage, you must go through the trough of sorrow if you want to make it big in business.
It's true.
I don't know like who set that up, but it is a barrier to entry that only the strong, only if you keep persevering.
It's crazy because I think about all the businesses that we've started. It's always been so hard and impossible. Like, we're never going to figure this out. We are idiots.
That's how it's felt every time.
We don't know what we're doing. We are never going to figure this out. We're not smart enough. We're not good enough. We don't have the time. We don't have the resources. We don't have all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, you just keep going every single day. You just keep adding to the assets that you have. You get a little smarter. You tweak a little bit. You get a little better. And then all of a sudden, at some point, it's almost like you just turn this corner. And then in a way, it almost becomes easy, the things that were so hard. And you're like, oh, of course, this is easy. Like, I could totally figure this out. I recently have been really struggling with migraines. Every single day, I've been battling these migraines. And so I reached out to someone, Justin's cousin, and he's a doctor and kind of does more holistic medicine. And I asked him, hey, what do you know about migraines? He put me on the elimination diet. And now I don't have migraines. But a few weeks ago, it was like this mysterious thing that I could not figure out. But once I had the key, once I figured out what it was, it's so simple. It's so basic. It just takes me having the willpower to eat the right things so that I don't get migraines. It's like, it's crazy. Business is so simple, but it's so hard to do emotionally for me.
And I think the secret to success for any entrepreneur is you do not quit.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep going. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you do exactly the same thing all the time. In business or anything in life, you have a goal, and every day you do something to work towards that goal, and you see what's working. Taking effective action gives you effective feedback. And then you take the things that are working and you double down on those, and you do less of the things that aren't working, or you tweak them. And eventually, like Tara said, these things build on each other. Any business we've had, it's wild because we feel like fail. And then we're like, oh, I think something, fail. Like, and then we start to get a little bit of traction. And then a little bit after that, it like takes off.
So thinking back on the businesses that we've had, and this goes along with an email that we just sent out. You may have gotten it today, but it talks about our very first business, the satellite TV business. And we were $120,000 in debt. And then within about 6 months, we were making like $25,000 a month. That's insane.
But if you just hear that part, like you didn't go through the emotion of the feeling, and you said that, and I start to like envision the different times. I remember coming home to the bachelor pad after working all day, or being under the tree trying to get a breath, and you're in 110-degree heat selling satellite dish and you cannot breathe. Like, I could just start bawling from like 100 different things that come to my mind when you say that one thing. But they hear it and it's like, oh, you guys just magically figured it out. No, It took hard work every day.
Hard work. We had Brogan. He was a baby. I was on the computer. Sometimes he was sitting by me, and I had such guilt because I'm a new mom. Like, am I neglecting my child? Am I taking great care of my child? What do? Do I let my baby starve, or do I take care of my baby? But we got through it. Another business. We flipped 2 houses in 2010. We were working so hard, working like 60 hours a week. And then in 2012, we flipped 120 houses, working 10 hours per week. Like, we got through it again.
Same idea. But I remember within that, though, coming home and you being upstairs crying in the bed because we couldn't pay our bills, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it just happened, but we kept going.
Mm-hmm. And then with our education business, we were making nothing in 2013, spending so much time. And then all of a sudden, 2015, okay, it wasn't all of a sudden, we were making 7 figures, working just a few hours a week. It's insane. And then a couple of years ago, we started this SAS company. We're more investors in it.
Yeah, we get involved a little bit, but mostly silent partners.
Yeah.
Not so silent partners, I guess.
So we've invested money in it, and we're like, are we ever going to get this money back? And how's this going to work? And we went from losing money to now they're pulling some amazing numbers each month.
They're doing about 6 figures in ARR, reoccurring annual revenue, the last couple of months. So things are starting to take off. It took us a while to figure out the process and bring some salespeople on board. And now we have some salespeople and they're getting some sales. And it's like, oh, this looks like it could be a big moneymaker. Not only get our money back, not only get a little bit of a return, but make a huge return on the investment we made in this company.
Yeah. And they're not using social media the way that we're doing. It's not like a personal brand. They have a great sales team, and that's what's doing it right there.
And by great, they are great. They're great just because they're
doing the work.
Calls. Like it's nothing that anyone else can do.
So now as we're doing this business, it's a wild thing to literally have in the history of my life and your life in our timeline with people that we've worked, successful businesses that we have done time and time again. Yet here we are trying to grow this baby, and still we're like, are we going to figure this out? Is this going to work? How's this going to work? How are we going to make this happen? Holy cow, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, it's like, we don't totally need the money this time. I think that in a way makes it extra hard. It sounds crazy, right? People out there who are like, oh, poor you, wah, wah. But it kind of makes it harder because you don't have, I remember getting up every day and selling satellite dish in the heat and working with the team and system. And like, you had no choice. So you just went. And now it's kind of like we have more of a choice, but we don't want to give up. And we're not going to give up. Or if we were going to give up, we wouldn't be recording this podcast and announcing it. But we want to be real. Like we were like, oh, okay, let's go record this thing. Like, no, we're kind of sharing our journey of growing a new business along with you guys, right? Like we're sharing lessons we've learned. We're going to bring people on and talk about their business. We're going to answer questions, but it's real for everyone. Like we believe we can start a business and be successful in just about any place in any industry. That does not mean we can do multiple of those. It does not mean that it is easy. We just know the secret. Just keep going. Do the next thing that you need to do. What's your next priority you need to do? And if you don't know what it is, figure out what it is. Go on this thing called Google or ChatGPT. No, ChatGPT is getting there. But go online, look up a YouTube video, podcast if you want, and go. Like, what's the next thing you need to do, or what's the next thing you need to learn? Like, literally, I don't even know. Like, back in the day, we used to have Kyle and people to help us with all the back end, all the website, all the analytics stuff. We don't have that right now because we're not really selling anything. We're not making money. We're just sharing information. Eventually, we will have that team. But I am so bad with technology, and Tara is way, way, way better than I am. But it's not like you have a ton of experience or it's in your background, do all this stuff. So literally, like, we don't even know how many website visitors we're getting to our site. We looked up one thing that was showing like next to nothing. I'm like, this cannot be right. I was so frustrated. That's part of when Tara is like, are you sure you're in the zone?
Just was blowing a fuse in his head. But
then I got into Google Analytics. Anyway, I finally, after figuring out passwords and all this stuff that Tara's trying to make me learn, so she doesn't have to tell me.
Guys, does your husband know how to keep his passwords? Because mine doesn't. And it can be mad at me.
I don't understand why she thinks I should have to be able to log in on my own. But finally I got in there. I'm like, okay, we've definitely had way more visitors than it's showing on this other thing. Bottom line, there is like a lot of things within a lot of things. But you got this. Go get them. We believe in you.
Wow. Super inspiring.
Here's the truth. Like, we're kind of going after like a big
kahuna,
a big thing. Like we have a big vision of what we want to accomplish. We tackled like 6 platforms at once. And so when we always say finish one course until success. We have not done that. Let's go after all of it. Cause we're like, well, we don't need to make money right away. Right. And some things we've done pretty good at. And some things I see other peers of mine, people that back in the day, we hung out with that mastermind. They're just like getting like millions of views and all this stuff. And, you know, they've just been doing it for the last 3.5 years while we've been hibernating a little bit. So, but it's so funny because it's only been like 2 months since how long has it been the podcast since we put the podcast out?
About a month and a half.
But before that, we were working a couple months on putting the podcast together, building the website. So it's literally been like 3.5, 4 months. And it's so easy to be like, I can't believe I've done all this work. And like and the truth is we've still had so many people reach out and say how much this has meant to them. We still have, if you look at like our reach, it's in the like 10 or hundreds of thousands of people, but it's like, it just still feels like what they say the definition of not being happy, or which is probably frustration, is your expectation and where you're at and the gap between that. So we've told everyone to lower your expectations. Maybe we need to lower ours.
We need to lower our expectations and keep moving forward.
And improve our skills, right? Like,
that's the thing. How many times have we tweaked some of our strategies? I mean, we've been doing this and we realize, okay, this doesn't work. So we got to tweak the strategy. Let's do less of this. Let's not do that anymore. Okay, let's up this. And we're not even selling anything necessarily yet. We're just trying to get our message out there. And there are strategies that we put out and then we're like, okay, that doesn't work. Let's try it again. Let's do this. And sometimes it's the algorithm. Sometimes it's us. But anytime we're stuck, we're like, time to learn.
So here's the thing. We've started and scaled and grown multiple businesses. We've helped hundreds of people grow their business, and we are still struggling. You are going to struggle. Everyone struggles. The trough of sorrow, everyone goes through it. But you just got to keep going. And you don't have to do something big and crazy like what we're doing. I listened to a podcast yesterday on like a car rental business. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds like such an easy, I'm sure nothing's easy, right? But the barrier to entry is definitely lower than what we're doing, right? There's so many ways to make money out there. So many things you can do. Part of the reason we wanted to do this podcast in this way is just be real of exactly how we're feeling, is because sometimes people reach out and they say, oh, you guys are saying it's easy, and you're kind of giving people false hope. Like you're being dishonest. You make it seem easier than it is. You talk about all the success you're having. So first of all, if anyone has gotten that message, it is not easy. But I don't believe, once again, like, would you take this over, like, would you rather have, like, we both have corporate jobs and are trying to climb the corporate ladder and are working 50, 60 hours a week?
No, we highly value our freedom.
I'll take it any day. And I think it's way better than the alternative. I think it's easier than the alternative. Where it is not easier is the headspace. I should say it's not easier for most people, because most people, they want that monthly paycheck. They want to know, to be told what to do.
The security.
But I think if you want to grow and if you want to live the life you want to live, like you will get there. Like I believe. This isn't like a guarantee or whatever. Don't like turn me in. But I believe if you keep taking action, if you keep learning, you will get there. And I think the message we want to leave with you is anyone can do it, but most won't. But it's not because they can't. And so it's not like we're going to get on here and say you can't do it. Like, what kind of message is that? Right? Like,
right.
You can do it. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, but so worth it, I think. I'm just kidding. Today I'm not so sure, but I still am sure.
It's just like anything. It's simple, but it's hard to do. Like exercising, the way you exercise and how you exercise, it's actually really pretty simple. But to actually get up every day and do the work and work out, it's hard. And having kids is simple. We just feed them and take care of them. But it's hard because of the emotional. And getting married is easy, but it's hard. And all these things, they're simple in concept, but emotionally can be hard when we don't have the right headspace. And it's all about getting in the right headspace and moving forward, even though sometimes you're not.
Time is going to pass. We can't stop time from passing by. What are you going to do with that time? We've learned more in the last 4 months than most people learn in 12 years of school. The learning is so powerful when you are learning something, taking action, kind of failing like within that. And then like you have issue after problem. And then like, I'm going to learn how to know who visits our website and the conversions, all these things that I didn't know before. And I don't plan on like getting super techie. Like we'll hire people to do those things. It's not my main thing, but there's so much that you learn when you take action.
And there's so much that I want to become. We think about it like we could quit. We could quit right now. We don't have to do this, but there's something inside of me that keeps coming back to business going, I want to be someone who reaches their potential. Now, I'm not saying once I reach a certain money goal, I'm going to reach my potential. My potential is to not live in fear. My potential is to be at peace. My potential is to do good. My potential is to be an example to my kids. My potential is also to be balanced and be a part of this world and to experience it and not live on a computer all day long. So even in this project, I find myself going, yeah, I could quit, but why? But for what? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And I keep coming back to it going, I feel like I can do this. I want to master my mind. I want to learn to balance my time. I want to do good, but I also want to live in this world and experience it and be outside. How do I do all of that where I'm at right now?
So that is a really good point. Even though we're saying, keep going, do that, you can do this, we're going to keep going, we're going to do more. Yes. But we have also had very real conversations about balance. Sometimes we get so into it. And
we get
we're
a little obsessed.
Okay. Like we got to remember why we're doing this. It's to continue to help a lot of people and to have a great lifestyle and to connect. And if those things are not happening, we need to make some adjustments, right?
Yes.
And it's constant adjustments here.
And we're thinking about some pretty big adjustments right now. We're not making any announcements, but a couple years ago, like we bought this dream house and Justin and I had dreamt of having a big, gorgeous house. Since we were dating, we would drive around on your scooter and look at really cool houses and be like, can you even imagine? So we buy this house and it's beautiful and we're so grateful for it. But it's like we achieved the dream and we're not big house people. Let's be honest.
It's just more to take care of. And
we're not people who get a boat. We're not people who get nice cars because we just don't take care of things very well. It's not like we're not, bums. We keep our house as clean as we can with 3 teenagers.
My closet may not be that clean.
Your closet might be a little messy. But it's not really what we love to do. Some people really are great at taking care of things and getting things and being really good with all these different things. We really like freedom. And so while we've loved having this experience, I would never take it away. It's an absolute dream. Sometimes we wonder how long we'll stay here. And maybe we'll move around or maybe we'll shift some different things. I have a huge pull, honestly, to be outside more. I am on the computer way too much right now and I want to take a couple hours back. And so it's like, how do we do this project in a way that really fills our soul? It makes us feel alive, but also challenges us. I crave a challenge. I crave something hard. I crave learning, but I also crave moments of peace, of doing nothing, of breathing. And each day I find myself trying to find the balance of how do I be good with nothing and how do I strive for everything I want? And that's what we're learning is too. And I think that's exciting. It's a really easy
thing to figure out. But yeah, in your business, you are the architect of your life. You want to have non-negotiables in your business. Like, what are those things? So anyway, I know we kind of went off on a tangent there, but we want to make sure that we're clear. We love what we do. We would be bored without it. I mean, we wanted this. Like, we're excited. I told Tara before we started recording this that if we did quit, like we could quit, but I would spend the rest of my life feeling like, I don't want to say feeling like a failure because that just sounds like,
that sounds sad.
I'm a loser, but just knowing like what we could have done both personally and the contribution that we could have made. And that I know that we can, and we're working with our kids. That's has been
super cool.
So awesome. Such a great experience.
It has taken us so much work to get our youngest to do his homework. You have no idea. And now he's doing homework, which is like huge. And he's working with us an hour in the business every day and doing well. And he's going to the gym and he's reading books that are educational and for self-help. And I'm like, dang. And then our daughter, she's working with us and working with social media and she's doing amazing. She's very motivated, but she also has a lot to learn and we're working on things with her. And then our oldest, Brogan, I mean, he's going to be out of the house pretty soon.
It's crazy.
And so we're trying to get as much in him of, the emotional work and then also actual skills and marketable skills that he can use in his life so he can take care of himself and a future family. And so that's
what
cool.
I just realized?
What?
These guys, or this microphone, I'm not sure. It's kind of like our therapist, right? We came in here being kind of, me more than you probably, but being kind of like frustrated, like, oh man, come on. And then we just let it out and I'm feeling pretty good. And to reflect on all the amazing things and the blessings and the things that we've learned and seeing our kids grow and progress in a time that I think we need it. Pretty awesome.
Pretty amazing.
I think we should keep going.
So we're here. We're with you guys. We know the battle. We know the struggle. We have done it multiple times and we're doing it now. And we're just going to keep moving. So
after we eat lunch and take a little break.
Okay. Take a little breather.
Yeah. Take a little breather.
All right, guys.
Keep going. leave us a rating and review. We could sure use them.
And if you want to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube.
Tara did some special dances on TikTok and Instagram.
We are such good dancers. No, we're on there sharing all kinds of things too. We'd love to connect with
Millionaire
you guys.
University, is that where they follow at? Is it millionaire_university? Or? Okay, look up Millionaire University, I suppose. We'll have to figure out what those are.
Twitter.
I hear people say them on their podcasts.
Yeah, they're handles, but we have like 5. So I don't know if you want to say
We got
5.
some good love handles.
Those are going down.
Tara doesn't. I do.
Elimination diet. All right, until next time. And you know what? We have a really cool podcast coming up.
We were going to do it today, but we're like, we need a little more, like, we need to be ready for it.
Should we say what it is?
Well, we've shared a lot of foundational principles so far, and our goal in the future is to get into more specifics and details. And this one I would say is kind of a mid-range of, we're going to break down basically 8 business concepts or ideas and get into the numbers of how you can make $10,000 a month. Any one of those businesses you can start tomorrow. Doesn't mean you'll be making $10,000 a month starting tomorrow, but these are things you can start tomorrow. We're going to really get into some numbers, how we would go about doing these businesses, and then even how you can scale it from there. So maybe that was a little too much.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm excited. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk to you guys real soon.
You guys rock.
Yeah.
See you next time on the Millionaire University
Podcast.
Podcast.